with the next session of the day, and I would like to invite Ms. Aarushi Gupta, attorney at Donoso Partners, to present her case study on the topic residency by investment options in US and Canada. Aarushi and her firm are also one of the exhibitors for us at the conference. So if you have any questions regarding anything at all after the case study or about the firm or about the services that they provide, please feel free to reach out to her after the case study. Thank you. Meanwhile, please give her a big hand.
Okay, I'd first like to begin by requesting all of you to give a great round of applause for the entire team at LexTalk. Please. I think they've been working tirelessly, and this is the least that they deserve. So, thank you so much for taking out the time, and I'm very excited to present today. I'm going to talk about residency by investment options in US and Canada. And it is a unique topic, and my effort is through this presentation, I should be able to share with you some knowledge which you can take and can be of great benefit either to yourself or any of your clients. So my name is Aarushi Gupta, as you've heard. I am a senior attorney with Donoso Partners. We are a boutique immigration law firm based out of Washington, D.C. We also have our offices in Delhi and Toronto. And the core expertise that we have is that we help families, we help corporates plan immigration to US and Canada. We are an award-winning immigration law firm. I take a lot of pride in representing the firm today. The managing partner, Ignacio Donoso, has been in this industry for 25 plus years, and he has been ranked consecutively for the last 7 years as the best immigration attorney in entrepreneur visas. My presentation will be bifurcated into two categories. We'll talk about the most popular program for the US immigration, which is the EB-5 program, and then we'll segue into Canada. So we're going to talk about the new EB-5 program, which is offering a direct pathway to permanent residency in the US. This program has been in existence since 1990, so it's not a new program. This program offers permanent residency to investor, spouse, and kids below the age of 21. Program has been recently revamped in March 2022, and there have been sweeping changes brought forward for the program, which have improved the program massively. We learn through during the next slides. Okay, what are the key requirements of the program? Key requirements of the program are the following. First of all, anybody who's interested to immigrate to the US through the EB-5 program must make a minimum investment. So the minimum investment criteria has been specified by the US government. It is bifurcated into two categories. One is target employment areas, rural areas, and infrastructure areas. These are areas which qualify for a lower investment threshold, which is $800,000. And the other area is known as a non-TA area, where you have to invest 1.05 million. Now, the next part is very important, because I'm saying that you have to invest $800,000. However, the government wants you to give the lawful source of fund for this $800,000. What I'm trying to say is that the government will investigate not just the source, but the path of funds. So whatever money you earn and you're making as an investment, it must be shown to the government that it has been accrued through lawful means. And this is our core area of expertise. Our law firm, we take a lot of time to prepare our investors on how to navigate through the lawful source of funds requirement. Next is that your funds must be invested at risk. Now, I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the residency by investment options or the residency or citizenship by investment options. Here in this case, what you have to know is that your funds are at risk. It's not a guaranteed scheme, but your funds are subject to risk when they're invested in a project for the construction purposes. When I say risk, it does not have to mean risky. And this is where regional centers come into the picture. So what is a regional center? A regional center is a private company which is licensed by the government to help curate this investment option for you. So when you're investing money through regional centers, all you do is you sit back, you make the investment, and then the regional center manages that investment portfolio for you for the next few years. This is the key feature. When this program was introduced in 1990, the US government wanted to foster economic growth and help create jobs for US workers. So as a result of your investment, you must create 10 new jobs for US workers. Again, when you invest through regional centers, there is an economic methodology which they inculcate to show job creation. And that is why, as a result of the construction spending, you end up creating a certain minimum number of jobs. Again, I've already highlighted the role of regional centers. Active management, yes. So an investor is going to become an active manager, an investor is going to become a shareholder of a new company, and the sole purpose of this company will be to lend the money for the construction of a particular project. So you as an active shareholder will have the right to take policy-making decisions and be involved in how the company is officiating. This is the process in brief. It's overall a 5 years process from start to finish. So it begins by you getting your source of funds qualified, which is you having the necessary capital to make the investment. At this stage, the law firm will help you vet the source of funds, will guide you as to what documentation is required to make a successful application. And as a law firm, I can say that we've filed close to 4,000 plus applications in the last 5 to 6 years, and we know what is the recipe for success. So we take great amount of time to ensure that you understand the requirements of the program, help prepare the petition for you. Let's say it takes about a month to do this. At the end of 1 month, you'll be making the investment after performing due diligence on a project, and then you end up filing the first petition called I-526E. So this petition is going to get you a conditional green card. The government takes nearly about a year to give you a decision on this, and at the end of 1 year, the investor, spouse, and kids below the age of 21 can relocate to the US. When I said residency here, I said conditional. So what is the difference between this residency and a permanent residency? It is as good as a permanent residency, except that the requirement of law is you initially get a residency for a period of 2 years, and then at the end of 2 years, you have to file a second petition called I-829. This petition converts your conditional status to permanent. Otherwise, you enjoy the same benefits as that of a permanent green card holder. And when we end up filing the I-829 petition, which is to convert the status to permanent, at this stage, the government takes into account whether as a result of your investment, 10 new jobs were created for US workers. Okay, now what makes this program attractive in today's time? First of all is the fact that there is no wait list. Now let's demystify why we are saying that there's no wait list. Every country, when issued a green card in the US, is subject to a particular quota, visa allocation. Now, so for example, for an Indian national, you have about 700 visas available in a fiscal year. Now, as per the new act, there is no wait list for people who are investing after March 2022. So there is indeed a first mover's advantage if you invest today. Secondly, there is new visa set aside allocation system. So remember I mentioned that there are 3 categories where you can invest $800,000. These 3 categories also give you a preference in terms of getting your petition expedited. So which is why the new program has proven to be so beneficial for anybody who is interested through investment immigration. Thirdly, processing timing. Whenever we talk about immigration to any country, leave apart United States or Canada, everybody is concerned about the current backlogs that the system is witnessing as a result of the post-COVID scenario. So the current act, which has been revamped in March 2022, takes into account of the fact that the government is going to give you an approval on your first petition within a period of a year, on an average 6 to 12 months. The fourth point, and the most important. So for example, if I am studying in the US, or I am working on an H-1B in the US, then I have an added feature to my cap. If I file for this investor immigration program, which is called the I-526E petition, maybe my green card takes a year to come through. But within the first 3 to 4 months, government is giving me a work authorization and a travel authorization, which will allow me to start reaping the benefits of this program. And this is massive because all we are hearing in the last few weeks is that there are layoffs. Meta has announced, Amazon has announced, and the current employment scenario in the US is really looking grim. So in this fact, in the light of these circumstances, if you look at the EB-5 immigration program, it is giving you the benefit of starting to work with any employer, opening up your own business in lieu of waiting for an approval for the petition. And then lastly, when you make an investment immigration application, you're also concerned about the security of your capital. So the new act particularly introduces various features wherein the government is going to take stern measures to protect the preservation of your capital. When you say you have to invest at risk, it does not mean a risky investment because each regional center will take certain security compliance measures in order to minimize the risk of the capital. The scope of our services. Again, we are a 360-degree consulting law firm. We provide you end-to-end service. We help you understand the requirements of the program. We file your first petition for a conditional green card. We answer any clarifications or questions that the government raises to us. We file the second petition, which is a permanent green card application. And during this process, if there's any consulting in regards to the green card, to the citizenship, we do all of that. So we are going to handhold you throughout the entire process. Second part of the presentation is about the Canada program. I'd like to know from all of you, how many of you have heard about any immigration options to Canada? Has any one of you heard about the express entry point system or has heard that there is a point-based system for immigration to Canada? Anybody by show of hands, if I can know? Even if it's a preliminary knowledge, it's fine. So there you see, many people have heard that Canada has a point-based system called express entry. So if you have certain age, education, if you score English language exam points and you have work experience, then you will make it to the immigration in Canada. However, what we do not know is the fact that Canada has 11 provinces and at least 5 immigration programs per province. And for anybody who's 30 and above, 30 years and above, there are multitude of options available for you. So if you are a lawyer, if you have your firm, you can set up another firm for yourself in Canada and plan your immigration. If you're consulting with a client who's an entrepreneur, you can set up a business in Canada and plan your immigration, where age and education are not required as a preliminary feature. So this is what I'm going to cover during my presentation. So today I'm going to talk about the Canada Starter Visa program, which is again very popular program in Canada. And it offers permanent residency to entrepreneur, spouse, and kids below the age of 22. You will notice two differences between this program and the EB-5 program for US. First, kids below the age of 22 are covered. And secondly, it's an entrepreneur business immigration program. So you cannot take the back seat, you have to run your own business, and the government gives you a permanent residency on that basis. The Starter Visa program has been incredibly popular in the last 7 years for Canada immigration, particularly when we saw a lot of backlog in the express entry system. During the 3 years of pre-COVID and post-COVID, we saw that the express entry draws, which is their principal selection system, was structured in a way that there was at least a wait list of about 1 to 1.5 years for majority of the candidates. Right now, we have about 5,000 candidates in the entire immigration system who are scoring points above 500. And this all may seem to be too complex, but what I want to tell you is that for anybody who's above the age of 30 years, to score the minimum number of points which are required to clear the immigration is very, very hard. So the central feature of the Canada Starter Visa program is that you have a business idea. That business idea must be novel. It must be innovative. And that business idea must be supported by an organization which the Canadian government has designated as designated organization. Now, these designated organizations are in 3 categories: venture capitalists, angel investors, and incubators. And all that they do is that they provide guidance to you to launch your business, to network with other mentors, to network with other people in the industry, and make a name for yourself in Canada. who can apply? What is the eligibility criteria for this program? First of all, this is a program that encapsulates anybody regardless of age and education. So if you're a young entrepreneur, you can apply for this program. If you're someone who does not have formal education to your kitty, you can apply for this program. If you're 50 years old, 60 years old, you can apply for this program. And this is a strength of an immigration program such as the Canada Startup Visa. Secondly, the focus is on your desire to pursue an entrepreneurial journey. So if you want to make a passive investment, this is not the program, this is not the right program for you. Thirdly, business management experience. This is incredibly popular. Now, for example, you have a desire to start a business, but you do not know what it takes to start a business. So in that scenario, this program may or may not be helpful for you. So you need to have the idea of what it takes to run a business, to manage a business, and that is how the government gives you permanent residency, by making an application under this program. Thirdly, you're required to have a minimum of 10% of common voting right. So if you incorporate a company, and if a designated organization shows interest to give you support, they will obviously be sharing a particular equity in the business. But you must at all times retain a 10% of common voting right. Again, this is very, very helpful, where you have English language exam as a requirement which you have to clear, but you only have to score CLB 5, which is in the English language general training exam. And this is quite easy for anybody who has English of the conversational level. Does not require a lot of training. And yes, you must be admissible in Canada and have sufficient funds to settle in Canada. So for a family of maybe 3, we are looking at about 30,000 Canadian dollars. What is the process to apply for this program? First and the foremost, you must have an idea. If you're not sure if your idea is innovative, then we help you hone the idea to prepare it in a way that you can present it to the organization. So we help you prepare the pitch deck. We take your idea to designated organizations who work with us, and we present your idea to these organizations. Thereafter, these organizations give you the blessing in the form of a letter of support, and this letter of support directly gets you a residency. So when you get the letter of support, in roughly around 2 years, the government of Canada gives you a permanent residency. Also, the key feature is that the government allows you to come to Canada to run your business within the next 3-4 months. So you're not sitting outside Canada waiting for your permanent residency. You're coming to Canada along with your family, and you're running your business while the government is deciding on your permanent residency application. This program also has a feature of naturalization. So once you are a permanent resident for a period of 3 years, you can apply for citizenship. Again, the advantages are that it's the most fastest program. Any other immigration option to Canada in the current times is subject to a backlog of 2.5-3 years. And this gives you a permanent residency in a period of 2 years. It is the most flexible path to permanent residency, because the way how the immigration system in Canada works is that you have the federal, which is the national level, and the provincial, which is the state level. So if you are above the age of 30 years and you'd like to immigrate to Canada, and you go through a provincial level program, then you have to stay in that province for a minimum of 3/4 of the year. Whereas in this case, that is not a requirement. So it's very flexible as a program. Age and education level do not determine the success of application. It avoids the express entry system. This is a direct pathway. You do not have to worry about scoring points or waiting for the draws that happen. And it leads to naturalization. You and your family can live anywhere in Canada. It's a federal program. Let's come to the cost of the program. So overall, the cost of the program is about 200,000 Canadian dollars, and which includes your equity in the business. It includes all the steps that you have to take to set up the business, prepare the business plan, pitch it to the designated organization, take training from the designated organization to launch your business. So this is an overall comprehensive cost. This also includes our services, which is we help you set up the business, prepare the business plan, pitch it, apply for permanent residency, and also apply for work permit. you can log on to our website, www.donosolaw.com, and we write weekly newsletters to apprise you of the latest development in the field of immigration. So we'd love for you to subscribe to our newsletters and learn more about immigration to Canada and US. And that's the end of my presentation. I'd like to take any questions if any one of you have. If anyone has maybe a question which is off the topic, just wants to know, wants to get started, would be happy to do that. Yes, sir, please.
Sorry, I'm SK Singh.
Hello, sir.
As you said, when the process of investment starts, and the process takes about 3 to 5 years or 2 years, at the end of the period, is there any cases of rejections as well? If there is a rejection, what happens to the investments already made?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a very good question. Let's answer it from an American standpoint and also from the Canadian standpoint. So when you look at the EB-5 program, and you say that the program initially takes about, let's say, 1.5 years to give you a decision on the very first petition, at that point of time, the rejections come based on source of funds and based on the fact that you never made an investment. So the second aspect, of course, you and I both will ensure that you are bona fidely making an investment in a project that is licensed by the government. And the first aspect is our core expertise. So we take about a month, 2 months, and not before we are fully convinced do we ask you to go forward and make that investment. So the rejections at the first stage are because of these two facts. The rejection at the second stage, which is a permanent green card application, come in if your project where you invested did not create the 10 jobs for American workers. And again, when you go for construction projects, when you go for companies which have reputed name in the market, they have a particular formula which is certified by Department of Labor. It's called RIMS 2. So that formula inputs the construction spending and the particular projection of jobs which may be created. So if you want to face no rejection, then you want to invest in a good project that has a good outlay of creation of jobs. Now, when you come to the Canadian aspect also, let's take that landscape into mind. The rejections in the startup visa are for the following reasons. You were a passive investor. You never made bona fide efforts to launch your business. You got a letter of endorsement, but you never wanted to create jobs in the Canadian economy. So if you follow the basics, if you are going with a good trusted advisor who knows their job, and if you're taking all the right efforts which are required for the success of the application, then there's no reason why your application should get denied. Thank you. Okay, I guess anybody else? All right, I'm available here. Should you want to discuss any case pertaining to your personal situation or for any of the clients, would be happy to do that. Thank you once again for your time, and it was great talking to all of you. Thank you.